Okay, I block sanded this hood with 180 very carefully and very thoroughly, and this is what's left. So obviously where I filled for the dent that was there across the hood, that's all pretty much good. But there's still some areas that are low. There, mostly the low areas could probably be covered with some filler primer, which I have a can of that back here I could hit it with. That's just a filler primer when you have to do spot priming. But there's a little bit of, I can feel a little bit more than what would be a filler primer situation there. Definitely right here. I mean, that's, I can really easily feel that with my fingers. Probably the same there. And so what I'm getting at is that while something like, I don't know, this right here, that might be a filler primer thing because it's very shallow. This is a little bit more discernible. So this is going to be more of a glaze. That's definitely going to be a nice amount of glaze. Same here. And that's probably just some filler primer. There was a couple of other areas. But what I'm getting at is where I thought that I may not put another coat of 2K surface primer on here, I am going to, because I want to make sure that any of the spots that still seem just slightly low, not only am I going to glaze those and block sand them back, but I'm going to have to put another coat of primer on it and block sand the whole hood again, because I just want it to be perfect. That's the bottom line. I don't want any kind of, when I paint it, like, oh man, I wish I'd have spent more time there. So that might be an area as well. So there's just enough of those areas that I'm gonna go ahead and put some glaze on, block it back, and then put another, probably two coats of the 2K urethane, and then block it again tomorrow. So this is hood work part 2. Okay, I block sanded the whole hood out again for the second time, and things are definitely looking a lot better. There's not really any trouble areas. There was a couple of little minor low areas, but I think a filler primer will do it. So what I'm going to do now is hit the areas that are bare metal with the 2K, or not 2K, the self-etch primer. Let that sit for about 20 minutes, and then hit it with hopefully final full coats of the 2K primer surfacer. Block sand it again, and I think I'm going to be there. Okay, so that was the third evolution of block sanding, and I blocked it with 180 real thoroughly. Then I went with my random orbit sander at 220, and then blocked it again with 320, and then washed it off with water. And so this is a good indication when it's wet what it would look like painted. So I wet it down, and one of the things you look for is reflections of light. So like there's a fluorescent light right there. Actually, it's on the ceiling, but you can see the reflection of the light, and especially right there, it's straight. So if that thing was, well, it depends on where you hold the camera, but the point is that when you look at things that are reflecting off of it, it ought to look smooth. It ought to look like that light right there. That's that one. So you should be able to make them out clearly. And so far, I'm not seeing anything that really needs to be addressed. Yeah, you can see reflections there of the garage door. Lines are straight. So, and then looking down the panel at eye level, just kind of skimming across on that plane. Not seeing anything jump out at me. So there might be something in here. Anyway, that's the process. So I think I'm gonna set this hood aside and call it done unless I see something else before I go to painting. So the next step on it will actually be, I'll have to re-hit the areas that have bare metal with some self-etching, but I'll sand it with 400 and then wet sand with 600 and it'll be ready to paint.